Guys, what's going on? That's the guy 87 here. Sorry about yesterday. We didn't get a chance to upload a Funko. So today we're going to do something very special. We're going to do something a little bit different. As you saw by the thumbnail, we're going to talk about Godzilla. Today's reviews is going to be the Neca series, N-E-C-A. These guys make highly detailed collectible figures. They do Godzilla, they've done Pacific Rim, they've done the kaijus from Pacific Rim. I would really love to see a NECA version of Kong from Skull Island. That would actually be one of the coolest things to see. But enough chit chat, as I always say. Let's just get right down to it. Okay, so we got 4 that we're going to look at. So I guess the way we do it is we just start from the old school. So I give to you Godzilla 1994. This Godzilla is actually the one that went up against Space Godzilla in one of the old Toho movies. Godzilla at the end of the movie had to fight for the freedom of Godzilla Jr., his son. Space Godzilla he basically looked like a giant ice crystal with spikes that crash landed on Earth, and he was trying to basically terraform Earth with his planet because giant spikes were growing out of the ground. So Godzilla ended up having to fight Space Godzilla at the end, and once and for all, Godzilla comes up victorious. I want you guys to get a real good look at this one. This shows you how detailed these things are. I'd like to give a shout out to a good friend of mine from the Godzilla group and the Godzilla fan page on Facebook. Travis, you know who you are. This video is for you and for all the Godzilla fans of those pages. So yeah, this is the 1994 Toho Godzilla. On the box it said Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. And that's one of my favorite. I'm a giant Godzilla fan. So there will be multiple videos later on down the road of Godzilla. As you can see behind me, the background is about to change, so I'll make sure when I do the next video, pay attention to what's in the back, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. Alright, so we're going to move Godzilla 94 over here and moving right along. Okay, now in 1995, Toho Productions had been around for 65 years. Godzilla debuted in 1954, and it being 2019, Godzilla King of the Monsters, awesome movie. Do not believe what any of the critics tell you. You have to see it for yourself. If you like big action monster movies, go see it. If you're a Godzilla fan, you should have went and seen it probably 100 times already. I've already seen it 3 times. I hope that for the 4th of July weekend, it'll stay in theaters, but, you know, everybody will be going to see Spider-Man. But, anyways, let's get to it. So that's the 1994 Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Okay. 1995, Toho drops another movie called Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Destroyer had multiple forms in the movie. As time went on, he changed throughout the movie and eventually became this gigantic creature who was enormous. He was bigger than Godzilla. But like it says, it's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog. Well, Godzilla is not the biggest dog in the yard, but Godzilla can take care of business when he wants to. So Godzilla is Burning Godzilla. Only Godzilla fans will know what I'm talking about. He's called Burning Godzilla. He was basically a walking nuclear reactor. Godzilla's cells were disintegrating and he was going to explode. They tried everything that they could of possibly trying to freeze him so that he wouldn't blow up, and nothing was working. So Godzilla, when he debuts in the movie, he's destroying reactors and everything because he knows that there is something arriving on Earth that's going to destroy the entire planet. A nemesis that's worse than Space Godzilla. So Destroyer knows that Godzilla is weak because the more, it's basically kind of like the opposite of the Incredible Hulk. The more rage that he gets, the weaker he becomes. So Destroyer took upon that, and Godzilla Jr. had become a young adult. He was not full grown. He was still smaller than his pop. But Destroyer picked Godzilla Jr. up and killed him. He dropped him from the sky and he crashed through a building, and the impact killed him. And that made Godzilla mad. So Godzilla took it upon himself. Basically, if I'm going out, I'm taking you with me. So everybody, I'd like to show you Neca Burning Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroyer, 1995 Toho Productions. As you can see, he looks exactly like Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. These guys are actually from the same series in Japan. There were different series in Japan for Godzilla. These two are from the exact same series. My favorite series of back then was the GMK series. The 2001 Godzilla, that was the most awesome design for Godzilla that I had ever seen. In my opinion, I think that's what they were going for with the new movies. Here's another look at him. And as you can see, the spikes start off plain and then they turn into color. And they're actually kind of clearish, if you can look, where these are solid. This is more basic design Godzilla, just 1994 style. But Burning Godzilla, great movie. Godzilla does die, and he ends up taking Destroyer with him. So I'm gonna put these guys over here. Now, fast forward from 94 and 95 to 2014. Legendary Pictures, who had done Clash of the Titans, Kong Skull Island, which Kong Skull Island came out afterwards. Kong Skull Island was 2017. They created Godzilla. Everyone who is a Godzilla fan could not wait to see this film. Gareth Edwards, who directed the first Godzilla in 2014 for Legendary Pictures, he did a good job. It was a good movie. Not enough Godzilla, but when the time came to bring the action, he was on top of it. I do understand the persona that he took. He took the Jaws perspective, because in Jaws, you knew it was a shark, but you were waiting to see, okay, what's this thing look like? So when Roy Schneider was shoveling the chum in the water, he made the one of the most famous lines in history. He said, "I think we need a bigger boat," because you got a glimpse of how big Jaws was, and then it showed the silhouette swimming in the water. So that's what Gareth Edwards did with Godzilla 2014. So I give you the NECA 2014 Godzilla. Godzilla was enormous. Godzilla in the 2014 movie is 300 and I believe he's pushing 378. My Godzilla fans out there, let me know. I might have made a mistake. But I believe that he was 2000 in 2014's edition, yes. He was 378 feet tall. You can see how pretty big this thing is. And I love how they did the tail for this one. See, the tails of the other movie were the big thick tails. This one, he was actually like a real lizard. As the further his tail went out, it got longer, so it was like a whip. Awesome movie. I loved it. I know I went and seen it like 6 times when it first came out. That is the Godzilla 2014 Legendary Pictures Edition. These guys, I believe, in their style for height, I think they were maybe 100 and some feet tall, but this was the biggest Godzilla until Toho decides to get back into it because they seen how successful the Legendary Picture Godzilla film was. So Toho decided to take it upon themselves to create Shin Godzilla. Now, there are 2 versions to this, and like I said, when the next video for the Godzilla NECA series comes out, it'll be a whole new cast, a whole new roster of Godzilla designs. But now, this is how big Shin Godzilla is to Legendary Pictures Godzilla. You actually had to move him out of the video just to see. And this one is called Atomic Blast Shin Godzilla. And he has holes in his mouth where it looks as if he's blowing the fire out. And one thing that they did that was wicked and kind of wild for that film is that they kind of took Burning Godzilla, the original 1954 Godzilla, and with size was the 2014 Legendary Godzilla. And he could, when he would hunch over, he would light up. Lasers would shoot from his spikes. He would shoot fire, and then it would turn into a laser from his mouth. And then it surprised everybody when he shot out a laser out of his tail. Now, guys, I'm going to scoot back for you guys. This is how big this thing is. Enormous figure. Amazing quality, too. Amazing quality. And one thing that we understood, that we found out in the movie, was that Godzilla, there was a race of Gojirians, which people who worship Godzilla, because on the tip of his tail, when they shot basically cold nuclear air into his system, and it froze him. And at the end of the movie, it shows little creatures on the end of his tail. So that proves, and see in the Godzilla 2015 movie, the 19 one, King of the Monsters, that just come out, we find Godzilla's home, and then it all comes full circle. So this has been the Godzilla NECA series review. I hope my Godzilla fans out there like this. Check back. There will be another NECA series unveiling. Thanks, guys.